Have you ever felt different from everyone around you without fully understanding why? Have you noticed that your life has been filled with strange lessons, painful growth, and deep spiritual moments? Many people walk through life asleep to who they truly are. But some people carry an inner awareness that keeps pulling them towards something greater. These are the people who cannot ignore the voice inside them. They may struggle more than others, but they also grow more than others. They feel deeply, think deeply, and question life deeply. Sometimes they feel lonely because very few people truly understand them. But what if those struggles are not punishment? What if they are signs that your soul is being prepared for something meaningful? What if the difficult seasons of your life are proof that heaven has not forgotten you? Today, we are going to explore 3 powerful signs that you may be one of God's favorites. Many people think being chosen means living an easy life filled with comfort and success. But spiritual growth rarely begins in comfort. Most chosen people are shaped through pressure, disappointment, silence, and deep reflection. God often separates people before He transforms them. He allows certain doors to close so that the soul can awaken. That awakening changes the way you see people, relationships, and even yourself. You begin to notice things others ignore. You stop chasing empty approval because your spirit wants something real. You become more aware of energy, intentions, and truth. Sometimes this journey feels heavy because growth forces you to let go of old versions of yourself. But every painful lesson carries wisdom inside it. And every spiritual awakening carries the power to transform your life forever. So as you watch this video, pay close attention to your own experiences. This is not about feeling superior to anyone else. It is about understanding your purpose and your inner transformation. Some of the signs we discuss may explain things you have struggled to understand for years. You may finally realize why certain people left your life. You may understand why you always felt uncomfortable pretending to be someone you are not. You may discover that your sensitivity is not weakness but spiritual awareness. The truth is that God often works quietly in the lives of chosen people. Not everyone will recognize what is happening inside you. Some people may even misunderstand your growth. But your journey was never meant to please everyone around you. It was meant to awaken the person you were truly created to become. Sign number 1. You have been through painful seasons that changed you deeply. One of the biggest signs that someone is spiritually chosen is that life has forced them to grow early. Chosen people often face rejection, betrayal, loneliness, or disappointment at different stages of life. At first, these experiences feel unfair and confusing. You may have wondered why life seemed harder for you than for others. You may have watched people around you live carelessly while you carried emotional battles inside. But over time, those painful experiences begin to shape your wisdom. You become stronger emotionally and spiritually. You stop seeing life only from the surface. You begin to understand human nature more deeply. Pain teaches lessons that comfort can never teach. And many chosen people become wise because they have suffered silently. Their scars become part of their spiritual awakening. Sometimes God allows isolation because He wants your attention. When life becomes noisy, people rarely look inward. But when you lose certain relationships or comforts, you begin to reflect deeply. You begin asking bigger questions about purpose and identity. That is often where transformation begins. Many chosen people say they experienced their greatest awakening during their darkest moments. The pain forced them to grow. The loneliness forced them to discover themselves. And the silence forced them to hear their inner voice more clearly. What once felt like destruction slowly becomes spiritual reconstruction. You realize that certain losses were preparing you for a higher level of understanding. And suddenly, your suffering begins to make sense. People who are spiritually asleep often repeat the same patterns without learning from them. But chosen people cannot stay asleep for long. Life keeps pushing them toward growth and awareness. Even after painful mistakes, they reflect deeply and try to become better. They feel convicted when they live against their values. Their conscience becomes stronger over time. They begin protecting their peace more carefully. They stop forcing connections that damage their spirit. And they slowly become more intentional about how they live. This transformation does not happen overnight. It happens through lessons, heartbreaks, and moments of deep honesty. And every difficult experience becomes part of their spiritual preparation. Some viewers watching this right now may feel emotionally exhausted. You may feel tired of carrying burdens nobody understands. You may feel like your kindness has been taken for granted too many times. But listen carefully to this truth. Your struggles may not be random. Sometimes the people with the deepest wisdom are the ones who cried the most in private. Sometimes the strongest souls are built through hidden battles. And sometimes God uses pain to remove illusions from your life. The betrayal showed you who was real. The loneliness taught you self-respect. And the disappointments pushed you closer to your true self. That is not weakness. That is transformation. Sign number 2, you feel different from most people around you. Chosen people often feel different long before they understand why. Even in crowded places, they may feel emotionally disconnected from the world around them. They notice things that others ignore. They think deeply about life while others focus only on appearances. They struggle to pretend or fake emotions for acceptance. And because of this, they sometimes feel misunderstood. People may call them too sensitive, too quiet, or too serious. But what others see as weakness may actually be spiritual awareness. A spiritually awake person cannot comfortably live in constant dishonesty. Their soul naturally searches for truth. That search can make them feel isolated at times. But it also protects them from becoming spiritually numb. Many chosen people outgrow relationships very quickly. Not because they think they are better than others, but because their spirit keeps evolving. As they grow emotionally and spiritually, certain environments begin to feel draining. They can sense fake energy more easily. They notice manipulation faster than before. And they become uncomfortable around constant negativity. At first, this can feel lonely because fewer people truly connect with them. But spiritual growth often requires separation. Not everyone can follow you into your next level of awareness. Sometimes God removes people who no longer align with your purpose. And while it hurts, that separation protects your peace. Chosen people also tend to value solitude differently. They do not always need noise or attention to feel alive. Many of their greatest insights come during quiet moments alone. They reflect deeply about life, purpose, and personal growth. They learn from their mistakes instead of constantly blaming others. And over time, they develop emotional maturity. They begin to understand that peace is more valuable than constant approval. This changes the way they approach relationships and life decisions. They stop chasing validation from people who cannot understand them. Instead, they focus on becoming authentic. That authenticity may make them stand out. But it also brings inner freedom. Have you noticed that you cannot fully return to old habits once you become spiritually aware? That is because awakening changes your perspective permanently. Things that once entertained you may now feel empty. Conversations that once excited you may now feel shallow. Your soul begins craving depth, truth, and meaning. You become more careful about the energy you allow into your life. And while others may misunderstand your distance, your spirit understands the reason. Growth changes your appetite. You stop feeding your soul with things that weaken your inner peace. You begin protecting your mind more carefully. And little by little, you become the person you were meant to be. That is one of the clearest signs of inner transformation. Sign number 3, you keep being pulled toward purpose and inner growth. One powerful sign of being spiritually chosen is that you cannot ignore the call to grow. Even when you try to settle for less, something inside you feels restless. Your spirit keeps pushing you toward healing, wisdom, and purpose. You may fail sometimes. You may lose focus sometimes. But deep down, you know you were not created to remain spiritually asleep. There is a voice inside you that keeps saying there is more to life. That inner voice becomes stronger after every lesson. It pushes you to become more disciplined, more aware, and more honest with yourself. And over time, your priorities begin to change. You care less about impressing people and more about living truthfully. That shift is part of spiritual awakening. Chosen people often experience periods where life forces them to rebuild themselves completely. A relationship may end unexpectedly. A dream may collapse. A friendship may betray them. Or they may suddenly feel disconnected from the identity they once had. These moments feel painful because they shake the foundation of life. But they also create space for transformation. Because healing begins when honesty begins. And many people avoid honesty because it is uncomfortable. But chosen people eventually realize that growth requires truth. They stop pretending to be okay when they are not. They confront their fears gradually. And through that process, they become emotionally stronger. If you recognize yourself in these signs, do not ignore what your spirit has been trying to tell you. Your life experiences may carry deeper meaning than you once realized. The struggles were not only there to break you, they were there to awaken you. Every painful lesson carried hidden wisdom. Every lonely season carried hidden growth. And every disappointment pushed you closer to self-awareness. You are not becoming weaker through these experiences. You are becoming more conscious, more emotionally mature, and more spiritually grounded. Transformation is painful at times, but it also reveals your true strength. And once your eyes begin to open, you can never fully return to spiritual blindness. That awakening changes everything. Remember this carefully. Being chosen does not mean living a perfect life. It means being called to deeper awareness and inner growth. It means learning lessons that many people avoid. It means becoming honest with yourself even when the truth feels uncomfortable. And it means protecting your peace while continuing to grow spiritually. Some people will misunderstand your transformation. Some people will leave when they can no longer control or limit you. Do not let that stop your journey. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you forever. Some people are lessons, while others are blessings. And wisdom is learning the difference. As you continue your journey, never forget the importance of self-respect and inner peace. Protect your energy carefully. Be mindful of the people and environments that influence your spirit. Spend time reflecting, healing, and growing. Do not rush your transformation. Real growth happens step by step. And even when progress feels slow, every lesson is shaping you into a wiser person. The strongest transformations often happen quietly. One day, you will look back and realize how much you have changed. You will realize that the person who once felt lost has become stronger and more aware. And that realization will change the way you see yourself forever. Before we end this video, take a moment to reflect honestly on your own life. Which of these signs connected with you the most? What lessons have your struggles taught you about yourself and others? Share your thoughts in the comments below because your story may inspire someone else who feels alone. And if this message spoke to your spirit, do not forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more deep and eye-opening content. Your awakening journey matters. Your healing matters. And your growth matters more than you realize. Sometimes the greatest blessing is not getting everything you wanted. Sometimes the greatest blessing is becoming the person you were always meant to be. Stay aware, stay grounded, and keep growing. Your transformation is only beginning.